only any combo our channel so AGH Politics Avenue. Podcast also training because make headlines na jemre na EDB exom ewa ha ni dem ne ahobraksi mu se ene edi kanya be sure so bitima subscribe to the channel, hit notification bell so share na adofo akanso ensa entumi enkebi onua ora operation recover all loot egu anas eye adwuma. Well NDC ni NPP communicated bi ehia onua omo ebo yinchiremu yenhwe still ora no eye adwuma ma me ensan emfa wonko eye insemfufuro na onua Honorable Sam George make allegations bi say NPP amayuko ni bi kutesika do so puo enya asem koto a omode etu kwan akọ amonone onua sansem no yemonwuram abra nimdefo atrase omobo yinchirimu she no so am say haxi GH Politics Avenue.
Oh, Alfred, it's not just NPP people saying that oral is dead. Look, if you go on social media, even members of the NDC, out of their own frustration, they will say that, for example, you write something and an NDC person will come and write on your wall. You, if not for the fact that oral is slow and they are not working, you should have been in jail. All over on social media. That is their refrain. They are even frustrated themselves, their own party people. So let's not create the impression that NPP is saying oral is dead. Even NDC people and a larger section of the public feel that oral is dead. Because why? It was the most high-handed, pathetic, reckless institution or committee ever.
How do you describe
why
oral
not?
with
why not?
with
Look, my brother,
that they haven't done
my brother,
anything?
I believe it was in your own studio here. It was in your own studio here when Sam George said that people are fleeing with money and that they know people who are sending money to other countries. And he said, oh, even next week, he said, even last week, I know somebody who was sending 100. Even
supporting him.
Was supporting him.
Yes, he was here.
So he was here.
Name that person. No, I didn't. You didn't.
You didn't name that person.
I meant that oral word.
Alfred, the point is, you created an impression, an expectation. You created a demand. People should go for the blood of NPP. Look, there were even comments that go to the airport and stand at the airport and make sure nobody leaves the country. You create that impression, you create that expectation, and you come and tell us, well, Pebu, what are you telling us? you are the choir master.
Yeah, support.
What are you telling us? You cannot, in your right conscience, be happy with where oral is.
So propaganda.
Look, Kofi Boache, let's take him aside. He's NDC. Let's take Okujeto Ablakwa. He's NDC. Pebu, you claim you are not NDC.
Yeah, I'm not NDC.
Okay, fine. We'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Dom level.
Yeah.
At least he claims he's neutral.
Yeah.
The two of you should be worried.
Yeah.
That you were added to a propaganda tool. Because you see, Pebu, you are a lawyer. And you should know that you should never participate in an exercise that judges or sort of creates the impression that people are thieves even before they have their day in court. But you participated in that. You participated.
To keep the hope alive. To prepare
hope in the absence of justice. Hope in the absence of people's rights.
Propaganda tool.
Of course, it's a useless tool.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
You don't understand governance.
What governance?
You don't.
No. Please, let me talk. See, here's the thing. Now, Pebu is permutating, telling us it was if. Really?
Yeah, he said conditional clause.
Really,
he said if.
Really?
Watch, please project the statement. He said if, and it's conditional. It's a conditional clause.
If what? If what?
If all the cases are prosecuted. So once we've not yet finished prosecuting, you can't hold him.
You see, you said
there
this.
are 7 cases in court. Too.
You said this.
7. All right. SkyTrain, the National Service one.
SkyTrain is what? 2 million.
Yeah, Aludiba. National service is over 400 million.
2 million.
National service is
and
over
then you included, let me talk. You included Bank of Ghana.
Because I would spend
You included Bank of Ghana, the building. You included the cathedral. Should I continue? You included drip machines. And these are even projects that have been done or equipments that have been procured. But you included them as though...
drip machine already has been shown that it was overpaid by 2 million. GRA is on the Zoom Lions neck now.
So for the drip...
You see, we have
1 second.
2 million.
So
$2 million. That's over 30 million Ghana.
So it was
over 20 million Ghana.
It's not Zoom Lion.
Yeah, it's his company.
I mean, I just want...
Yeah, he's involved in it, so he can't run. When we say Zoom Lion, that's
I want to mention the specific company.
Yes.
It's the J Plant Pope.
Yes, and when we say Zoom Lion, I'm sure it's easier. No, effective communication. If you say J Plant, many people will not understand. But the more you say Zoom Lion, everybody understands. So effective communication. I don't come here to do esoteric things. But thanks for mentioning the technical name.
I'm only buttressing the point you are making that.
Yes.
This is a company owned by the same person, known with a particular
yes.
But then there's a specific company was involved in that contract.
Yes. But Zoom Line is sufficient for effective communication.
So you claim that project was overpaid. So was it the overpayment that you were seeking as part of the oral?
Oh, but was it vindicated? $2 million. That's at least 20 million Ghana. Kofi, you know how many people work and don't even make 100,000 Ghana a year?
Let me talk.
100,000. You know how many?
The point I am making is that you told Ghanaians, and this is from the presidency, oral committee report presented, estimated value of 36 cases reviewed at 20.49 billion. February 10th, 2025. This is the presidency. 36 cases estimated at 20.49 billion.
Now, why you say this is the presidency?
As in the presidency.gov, the website of the presidency. So from Felix's office, I'm sure, Felix, you are the one responsible for the website. This is what it says. That oral committee report presented estimated value of 36 cases reviewed at $20.49 billion. Averagely, each case is supposed to give about $583 million. This was the promise. This was the promise. So when Ghanaians ask questions about the expectation and what you have delivered, they have a right. Felix, I believe in Parliament or so, mentioned that they have frozen assets of 1.5 billion.
We'll get into all of that.
Oh, we get into all of that. But that constitutes 0.75% of this amount. Not even 1%. And it's frozen. It's not even money recovered. Because the $600 million the president referenced was through Yoko. But at least what Felix referenced...
It's not dollars.
It's 600 million Ghana cedis. That the president referenced in his State of the Nations address was through Yoko. But what Felix referenced was 1.5 billion frozen assets and not even recovered. That's less than 1% of what they promised. So even if we go with your condition of if, it is still a promise that you are going to review 36 cases with the potential of giving Ghanaians X amount, which is approximately 21 billion. So even if we go by your hope, at least give us 20%, give us 30%, give us 40%, less than 1% of frozen assets. So Ghanaians have a right to be worried that what is happening. You set out to sort of embarrass people. You set out to destroy people, their reputation, their image, their rights enshrined in the Constitution. That's what you did. So people, when you talk about hope, talk about the rights of people. It's not just a matter of hope. The Constitution, first and foremost, enshrines the right of every single individual. So you cannot, on the back of hope, destroy their rights. You can't do that.
Okay.
So, look, Ghanaians have an expectation They told us, even when we asked them, where are you going to find monies to do some of your activities? They told us, Ora will give us 21 billion. Hey. But don't say, when I'm done, I'll give you several instances of comments that they made. That Ora money is coming, 21 billion is coming.
You look for it.
Yeah, I'll look for it, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you. So you have dashed the hopes of people.
I see.
That is the bottom line.
Quite a number of questions, and I had you all speak because there's a lot that Phyllis Kwachofosu would have to respond to regarding Operation Recover All Loot. Sure. It's just a propaganda tool that was deployed for you to win this election.
I will start by dismissing that propaganda from Kofi and his folks. You see, that whole propaganda is hinged on that. Let me start by saying that no NPP person will ever support Ura.
But he says he's
No. I'm saying that no NPP person will ever support Ora, but maybe with the exception of a few. So Kofi and his hardcore NPP propagandists will do everything in this world to discredit Ora because there's a political motive for it. But there are more reasonable elements in society who look forward to improvements in the way that public finances are managed, who retain hope that through such activity, first of all, we'll be able to punish those responsible and then put in place measures to avoid their recurrence. That is where the conversation should be focusing. But that's what the propaganda Kofi and Co are showing. To begin with, nobody had said that we're going to recover 21 billion. We speak about the value of the cases. In other words, the projects for which the corruption allegations have arisen total this amount. So let me give you an example. National Service, when we started, we thought the amount involved was around 600 million cedis. Then the Auditor General did an audit and found that up to 2 billion Ghana cedis, which in today's terms is $2 billion, had been embezzled through the National Service scheme. However, if you hold the people, you are unlikely to get 2 billion because they may have squandered the money or done other things that make it impossible for you to get as a country. So it is what you get from them that you recover and give to the state. So that propaganda.
So these are the projects involved. This is what the oral preparatory
absolutely
during the and we all concede, right? This is a public document.
So take the Bank of Ghana, for example.
I'm coming.
Alfred, take the Bank of Ghana, for example.
Cost of financial scandals listed. Yes, it's an estimate.
So I'm on the floor, Kofi. I kept
no problem.
You see, Alfred.
When
so
you
for instance,
done
the Bank of Ghana building, I've recently found out that it actually cost $400 million.
$400 million.
Exactly.
That's lower than what is.
Yes, I've recently discovered that it actually cost $400 million, not the $250 million we had initially thought.
The new Bank of Ghana.
Absolutely. So the building is there. How are you ever going to hold anybody and get $400 million when the building has been put up and it's a state property? So if you were ever to go into it and you were going to do recovery, you were only going to get a part of it. Is it realistic today that you will get $2 billion from Beauty Oware or Mr. SLC? So we need to cut out the propaganda and focus on facts. Alfred, what had happened was this. There were unprecedented levels of corruption. In fact, you in the media every day fed us with corruption scandals to a point where people even became fed up. So there was a need to do something about this sort of corruption and rot. So the NDC, as an alternative to the government that was supervising the rot, said that if we ever got opportunity to run the country again, we were going to implement Operation Recover All Loot, which could only have meant that we will use the legal process to hold those responsible accountable. And then once we have succeeded in holding them accountable, recover what it is that they are alleged to have stolen. That is what it was about. In opposition, there was nothing we could do until we got power. So President Mahama wins elections, and then on 18 December, that is in the period that he was waiting to formally be sworn in as president, he sets up the Oral Committee to gather as much information as they can get. The Oral Committee itself didn't have any power or locus to prosecute anybody. Yes. And that was never what was said about their work. Indeed, I issued a statement. My exact words were that they were a preparatory committee. So we put together people we believed had capacity to help with it. When they started their work, he will tell you, they got over 2,000 allegations against people. They sifted through and saw that around 280 of them had some basis.
Out of the 2,000?
Out of the 2,000. Because it's not everything that people come to tell you that you run it, because you would run yourself around, because really, there will be no substance to it. So they brought 280 cases in a report. That report you cannot take to court to secure any conviction. Yeah. You needed to get accredited state agencies close with the power and capacity to do investigations and then put together dockets to give to the Attorney General, who would review and satisfy himself that indeed there is basis to prosecute, and then he will proceed. So the claim that oral is dead is blatantly false. It is NPP propaganda intended to discredit an exercise that will expose wrongdoing under them. That is all. Regrettably, there are elements in the NDC too who have taken the bait.
No, but are you saying that there's really no basis for even persons within the NDC?
Yeah, but so I'm going to demonstrate to you that there's no basis for it. Listen, I'm going to demonstrate to you. I'm going to demonstrate to you. Listen, no, I'm going to demonstrate to you that there's no basis. I understand the desire to have speedy prosecutions because of the extent of the rot. Indeed, if you are an NPP person and you are citing an NDC person's expression of frustration as reason why you are happy, you are actually indicting yourself. You are saying that people are impatient for you to be gold for corruption. That's what that you are saying. And it is not a flattering position to be. You are admitting that you were corrupt, except that nothing has been done to you yet. But the point I wish to make is that what could oral do? It was always going to be premised on the rule of law. And I was here 2 weeks ago and I told you that nowhere in the oral promise did we ever promise to use extrajudicial means. We can only use the judicial process.
Domelo, reference the certain pace at which
of course, so I'm coming to explain that
oral should have
I'm coming to explain it. You can only work with what you have. We for decades we have all lamented the slow pace of cases in court. It is a decades old,
and the tool in the game is evident.
Absolutely, and it's a decades old criticism leveled at the judiciary of Ghana. It's nothing new. So that criticism itself is not an indictment on oral. But you see, the government of Ghana cannot come and tinker with the judiciary for the sole purpose of achieving a political end. The most we can do is to use the law to see if we can carry out some reforms to make the process a bit more satisfactory than before. So indeed, I have sat in cabinet. A bill to reintroduce the tribunals has been approved by cabinet. It should be in parliament by now. Once it is approved, the tribunals will be brought back. And that will ensure some to, among other things, deal with some of these matters and matters involving galamsey and other offenses so that we can speed up a bit. But a slow judicial process is not the same as inefficiency on the part of government in implementing oral. So what has happened since oral came? The oral cases were spread amongst 3 agencies: the police CID, the NIB, and the Yoko.
Before we go on to that, how do you answer the question? You knew about this slow judicial process, but yet made promises that were hinged on a certain pace at which
no, but who spoke about pace? First of all, who said, for instance, that we will jail everybody under 1 year? Who said that? If you can give me that, we will move on. So what is the basis for saying that if after 1 year, everybody...
You have the power to jail people.
No, it's just by word of expression. What I'm saying is that, so if after 1 year, as we have now, everybody has not been put in jail, how do you say that oral has failed? Did we ever say that in 1 year we jail everybody? Did we ever say that we jail everybody in 1 week or even in 10 years?
No.
You understand me? If you let me land, you understand the point I'm making? So it's important to dismiss propaganda and separate it from facts. So what?
We ain't some of the team course or channel so mammy and I was a jimre award. So body in the dumbi edumania. You be sign about room. Naya sumo a question.